So it's Q&A time.
We had these windows made, but it's so stinking hot here that it's better to have them out for airflow. A couple of you asked, what was your first date like?
Our first date was at the Royal Victoria Yacht Club, and Ben took me out fishing.
I took Ashley out on my family's little runabout, and we went fishing, salmon fishing. At that point in time in my life, I had a really bad track record with catching fish.
Claims he hooked the biggest fish he's ever caught in his entire life, or ever could have caught in his entire life.
All of a sudden, the biggest salmon bit the lure.
I figured it was a seal.
Literally, I was just holding onto the rod like crazy, and it kept taking line and line and line.
And this thing took line and line and line and line. He was so excited.
Eventually, I tightened the drag too much and it snapped the line.
It was a good first date, I have to say, a very good first date.
Yeah, that was the first date. Took her out fishing, lost the biggest salmon probably I will ever catch. There's a fisherman up here. We're gonna try and give him some ropes. We've had a lot of ropes over the years, and we simply don't need that many. Do you want ropes? Yeah? Yeah, he says yes. One more? Okay. Thank you. Cup and cup. Been wanting to give those away to someone for a long, long time. One person's garbage is another person's treasure. I guess that's some sort of saying like that. Bye.
So next question, I lost it. Roger, what are your plans for the kids when they reach the age when kids usually go to kindergarten, i.e. learn to socialize with other children? So I think there's two parts to that question. One, what are we gonna do for schooling? And two, how are we gonna prevent our kids from turning into weird boat kids? Right? Right, okay. We have this totally figured out, I'm pretty sure. It's a few years off, so we're not that stressed, but we do plan to homeschool our children. We will probably register them with the BC school system, British Columbia, Canada, so they can be like normal kids in normal school and that kind of thing.
What about the weirdos? Are they gonna turn into weirdos, Ashley?
So no, what we've noticed is that there are tons of boat kids out here. I think things have changed. People cruise with their children now. There's a lot of boats with kids on board. There aren't as many boats with kids Willa's age. Usually they start around 5, which is kind of that age that you're asking about. So I think it's cool. The other thing is you often change your cruising plans a little bit. So you may actually do a little bit more buddy boating so that your kids, you know, sail along with another kid boat a little bit more collectively. A little less weird off the beaten track NAHOA stuff maybe. Or maybe we'll just have to convince another family to follow us around. So there's a fun game you can play in Thailand as you're cruising along in some of the coastal waterways, especially in the area where we are, kind of up near Panama Bay. Fishing mark or garbage?
It's incredible how much garbage is in Asia. I mean, when we left Palau and entered Philippines, the garbage started, and then we went down through Indonesia and there was more garbage, and then we went through Malaysia and now Thailand. It's just garbage. Like, it's not what you see on the brochures, but it's the reality out here. There's a lot of plastic, a lot of styrofoam floating on the ocean. There's not any possible way we could ever collect it all. There's just so much of it.
Next question.
Next question. Hi guys, do you have any intention of swapping the cat for another one in the near future?
Oh, good question.
No, we love NAHOA. We do not have an intention of swapping this boat out in the near future.
Not the near future. We have every intention of finishing the lap. It's like, I want to sail around the world on NAHOA.
We do dream and lust over faster, bigger cats. It would make passages shorter and more fun, and not to mention it would give our family more room to roam.
Yeah, I think NAHOA is going to be great while the kids are little, but as the family grows, it is a 3-berth catamaran, and we really can't have guests or helpers or anyone easily aboard unless the kids share a room or we share a room with the kids. So it's definitely something we're thinking about long term.
Far, far future.
How far is far?
I don't know. when the
Stay
bank
tuned.
when the bank account goes into the
into the positive, right? Okay.
Black Friday, Black Nahoa. We are trying to purge everything. We have so much shit on this boat, and it is really rewarding to give it away to other people. I'm gonna give this away to this guy coming up. They're probably gonna try and sell us prawns, I would guess. But these are some, I don't know, some water pants. They might be a little bit too big, but we'll see. Slow down a bit more. They didn't want it. What was that all about? Alright. Well, I guess they didn't want it. I don't know what this means, but it means something.
And Willa, that means I'm all done.
Maybe? I don't know. Okay, next question. SV Serenity, sailing vessel Serenity, asks 2 questions. 1, what kind of things or situations come up that just make you hit the wall on the cruising life? Great question. There are a few things that do make us hit the wall, and we wonder why the hell are we doing this. For me personally, as of late, it's been the unrelenting heat here in Thailand. I try not to bitch about it on video, but it is hot, very hot. And every time you do any kind of boat work, you're just covered in sweat. You're dripping, drowning in sweat. That's a big one for me. That kind of leads me to the second, which is boat work. Our boat is now 16 years old, and she has not had a lot of work done in the last 3+ years. So she needs a lot of work right now. A lot of fixing, a lot of replacing of old parts, a lot of things just breaking down that you didn't expect to break down, or you do a bunch of work and then you say, okay, let's go cruising for a day or 2, and it's like, well, those 2 days are spent working on the boat because new stuff has broken as you're out cruising. Anything for you, Ashley?
I hate rolly anchorages. Anywhere where there's a lot of tide, or I don't know, wind shifts or whatever, I don't know, pretty much on the ocean. You sometimes will anchor in a spot and it's beautiful, and then something changes in the night, and of course, right when you're making dinner, the anchorage turns into this like rolly, awful, nasty place. I always want to leave when that happens, and I always complain miserably, and Ben is always like tying up bridle things so you can kind of switch the bridle. We've shown that before, and sometimes we'll put out a stern anchor if it's really, really bad, and it's crazy. Sometimes stuff actually tips over in our catamaran because of the side-to-side motion. That is not okay with me. The next morning we always pick up and leave.
And then the second part of the question, is there certain aspects that for one reason or another have to be skipped or left for others to do? Another great question, yes, fridges, refrigeration. We do not have the knowledge nor the tools to put in refrigeration. Another one is gel coat work. Doing big areas of gel coat, I can't do that. I don't know how to do it. So we hired gel coat experts to do that. Rigging, replacing the shrouds, the wires to keep our mast standing upright. We hired experts to do that. Electrical work, yes, I could probably figure it out, but it takes a long time to research those things. So we hire people, instead focus on making a weekly video and pay the electrician bill through that. If we were not making videos and we had all the time in the world, we would probably do most of the work ourselves, spend the time to learn and buy the tools and do it ourselves to save money. Oh, you're awake. Are you looking for something specific? Could it be this?
Opportunity to bring Willa onto the boat and have her spend her first part of her life on the boat. So we've had a couple of people ask us about if we're going to be taking on crew. And what do you think, Ben?
Crew is an interesting one.
My thought is never say never, but no.
So on the one hand, if you take on crew, you should really be paying them. I know there's a lot of people that would love to sail with us and gain experience. The problem with someone that needs to gain experience while you're adding another risk factor to a passage, because you don't know if they'll get seasick. If we're in a squall or a storm or a hairy situation, you're not only having to deal with the boat and the sails and the Willa, but also the extra crew member if they're freaking out or are having to teach them stuff on the spot. So yeah, no, definitely no crew for now.
We really love the magic that happens when you're offshore for weeks or days or whatever it might be. And it's just a beautiful time to be with the one you love, your partner, some days.
It's news to me.
And anyway, it is a magic time, and it's pretty cool. It's beautiful at night. It's beautiful during the day, and it's something that you don't always want to share with the third person, and you're not sure how that third person is going to kind of add to the mix. Now, it is also something that people sometimes bring on nannies for babies for passages, and that's something that, you know, could happen. But again, the whole seasickness factor is something that you just have to be really careful about. And
it's debilitating when someone gets seasick.
It can be very debilitating, and it just isn't something that then you've got an extra person that you now have to take care of on board. I'm never saying never, but I think for the time being we're going to attempt passages with the three of us.
Yeah, what could go wrong? Ignorance is bliss. So we've had a really busy couple weeks, and especially the last week has been really busy. So this week's video is going to be a bit shorter and a bit late. We're going to have to cut it here. A lot has happened. We're explaining everything in real time on Patreon.
The patrons submitted so many questions. We have so many more to answer. They will be available on Patreon. Sign up for Patreon, ask whatever you want. We promise to answer your questions.
It's raining.
Yeah, hard.
And we're wearing clothes.
Long clothes.